You got a quote for a custom engagement ring, maybe 2 quotes, and they are different by $2,000 for what sounds like the same ring. And nobody explains why. That's not unusual. Most jewelers don't break it down, and most content about the ring pricing online comes directly from the brands selling you the ring. So it covers the basics and stops exactly where it gets uncomfortable. In this video, we are going further than that. I'll cover the center stone and how to check if you are paying the fair price. I also going to cover accent stones, where the ring quietly get more expensive without anyone mentioning it, metals, labor, CAD, and what's the ring process actually cost. Also how the brand affect the price and what are you actually paying for when it does. And how to compare 2 quotes side by side without getting it wrong, of course. The center stone is typically the largest single number in the custom engagement ring quote, often the majority of the total budget, though that depends heavily on the design and the stone you're choosing. For the diamonds, price is built on 4 variables: cut, clarity, carat weight, and the color. These variables don't add in a straight line. Cross the certain threshold, a full carat or carat and a half or 2 carat size, and the price jump disproportionately. A 0.95 carat and the 1 carat diamond look virtually identical once set. The price difference can be significant. That's one of the first places a knowledgeable jeweler can save you money without sacrificing anything visibly. Cut is more important than most buyers are led to believe. A well-cut stone in a lower color grade can outsparkle a poorly cut stone in a higher grade. If a jeweler pushing color and clarity without mentioning the cut, that's worth questioning. For a colored gemstones like sapphires, ruby, emerald, spinels, color becomes the dominant factor. Origin and treatment history matters significantly. A certified untreated stone and a treated stone of the same size can differ in price dramatically. If you are considering a colored stone, ask about the origin report and the treatment disclosure. How to check stone prices yourself. There are multiple free tools. I recommend go to the Pyroscope. It's aggregate over 1 million loose diamonds for multiple vendors with real-time market pricing. Filter by shape, carat, cut, color, and clarity, and you will see the actual market range for the stone matching your specs. If your jeweler stone sits significantly above that range, ask why. A good jeweler will have a very clear answer. If he can't explain the difference, that's worth paying attention. For colored stones, there is no equivalent public tools, which is exactly why the jeweler knowledge and the sourcing relationship matter more than anything else. This is where rings quietly get more expensive, and buyers rarely see it coming. A hidden halo, pave band, 3-stone design, or any layout with the smaller diamonds around the center stone, each of those accent stones has the cost. Not just the stone itself, but the labor to set it correctly, to match the matching requirement to keep the color and the size consistently, and the added complexity in the cut and casting. Setting 20 small stones correctly takes real time. That labor is in the quote. It just doesn't always have its own line. More stones also mean more potential maintenance over the years, worth knowing before you decide on them. Quick pause. If you're trying to understand engagement ring pricing, check our playlist on YouTube. The link in the description below. In those, I'm gonna give you all the information you need to make the right decision when you're making your custom engagement ring. That's exactly what we specialized on. Check it out, and I hope we'll work together. Metal is usually a smaller portion of the total than people expect, but the choice has the real implication for both price and variability. 14 karat gold is the most common choice. Durable, low maintenance, most accessible price point. 18 karat has higher pure gold content and the richer color, but slightly softer. The practical difference for daily wear is minor for most people. Platinum is denser, naturally white, grayish to be exact, and excellent for prong setting. The same ring design in the platinum will weigh roughly twice as much as the gold because the platinum is simply denser. That weight difference is real cost. It also takes more work at the bench due to a higher melting temperature point. All of that is in the quote. This is where the quote diverges most and where least explanation is given. A custom ring doesn't start at the bench. It starts with a conversation, sketch, a CAD model, revision, and wax or resin prototype so we can actually see it in real. And all of the adjustment before a single gram of metal is melted. Part what you are paying for is the decision making. Someone has to turn a vague idea into the ring that can actually be worn, produced, resized, and repaired. That process has real hours before the ring physically exists. Cut fees vary, some generally charge it separately, some bundle it into the total. What matters is knowing which you are looking at. Labor for the physical ring, casting, prong, setting, finishing, polishing, represent a meaningful portion of the custom ring quote of any engagement ring quote. Complex design and technical demanding metal work push that higher, like this ring behind me, for example. And right, so you're also paying for responsibility. If the cat looks right, but the stone doesn't sit safely, someone has to catch that. If a cast come out wrong, the jeweler absorb it. In one-piece custom shop, that accountability belongs to one person who sees the ring from the first sketch to the final polish. How to compare setting prices? A custom CAD is proprietary. You can take it to another jeweler for competing quote on the same design. Compare it in stock ring or similar style and complexity as the reference board. Or ask for a metal weight of the setting and compare it on that basis. Same weight, same metal, similar complexity, that's the honest comparison. Also ask for itemized quote. Stone, metal, CAD if separate, labor. A jeweler confident in their pricing hand that over without hesitation. One who resists that question is telling you something. A complete quote comparison needs to account for what is included and what isn't. Sales taxes, insurance, shipping, appraisal, resizing after delivery, import duties if applicable, payment processing fee. These vary by jeweler and location. Before you compare numbers, make sure you're comparing the same scope. On the margin, buyers often hear markup and assume something is hidden or unfair. It isn't automatically. A jeweler has to stay in business, stand behind the ring, fix the problem, and take responsibility if something goes wrong. Margin is how that's possible. The problem isn't margin. The problem is hidden margin with no explanation. A quote that is the single number without breaking down and no willingness to discuss it. Now the brands. When you are buying from the high volume jewelry brand, the kind spreading heavily across every sponsor search result, every influence placement, every digital campaign, part of what you're paying for is that infrastructure, not the ring itself, the brand around the ring, the retail experience, the name, the platform, the marketing that made you aware of them in the first place. That's not inherently bad. Brand trust has value. A recognizable name carries a certain confidence. And here's something worth saying honestly. Those ads work. They're supposed to work. There are plenty of people who see a name they recognize everywhere, feel confident about it, and make a decision. That's a completely valid way to buy the ring. The fact that you're watching this video means you went significantly deeper than that. You're investing your own time to actually understand what you're paying for. That's a different kind of buyer, and it's usually lead to a very different kind of ring. A small custom studio like us still has overhead. The difference is that pay more of your money is tied directly to the ring itself. The process, the stone sourcing, the time spent, and the responsibility of making one piece correctly for one person. So that's the full picture. Center stone, accent stones, metal, design and the labor, the costs that don't always appear on the quote. And of course, the difference between paying for the ring and paying for the brand. Here's something I can tell you from direct experience. Independent appraisals, the one insurance company order after the purchase, consistently come back 15 to 20% above what our clients paid. And our custom pieces regularly match or come in the same price as comparable ready-made rings from well-known brands. Same price, one is made for thousands of people, one is made for one specific person. That gap between something cost and what is actually worth, that's the value question. And for the engagement ring, it's probably the more important number to understand. A custom ring quote should make sense. Not cheap, Cheap is a different problem, just understandable. Every number should have a reason behind it, and the jeweler who knows their work will give you those reasons without being asked. If you want to understand what makes the ring worth more than its material, that's the next video. And if you are ready to start a conversation about your ring, the link in the description, it's a first step. No pressure, just a conversation. Thank you so much for watching.